Here we are. It's the day we arrived in Olon in 2014. Here we are at the Hotel Ibis. Arrival after a pretty painful journey, really. Yeah, day one. In fact, we only just arrived. That we thought we'd take advantage of this because it was the only day where fine weather was actually predicted. And indeed it was. It was a jolly nice afternoon, despite the fact it was September, October indeed. So here we are at the Saline with the salt marshes, absolutely dead centre of Olon and Sables d'Olonne, and a very nice trip on blue sky, blue, rather salty river, and a view of Olon in the distance. It was a fascinating visit, partly because of the wildlife. We saw our share of birds, and partly because we then went straight on to the area which actually is they recuperate the salt. So we are actually able to buy our own supply of proper Olon salt. People taking advantage of the Les Salines for all sorts of ways, either on the river, as we were, walking, or indeed cycling and fishing. You name it, it's all happening on the Saline, but not very much seemed to be happening this particular afternoon. I talked about the wildlife, just to prove there are birds there. As I spoke of activities along the riverside, a very popular activity, cycling along the fairly flat banks of the river, and that was our terminus point. One of the great attractions of Olon, in the area of Olon, is what are called the Les Salines, and they are effectively the salt marshes. On the one hand, it is a commercially developed source of salt, but more than that, I suppose, these days, because the salt tends to come from elsewhere, is the fact that it is a major tourist attraction in its own right, with the possibility of taking a boat, as you can see we're doing here, up along the salt marshes, up the Saline River, with all that it has on offer. You can see the piles of salt, and we're given a demonstration of the raking up of the salt. We produce a sort of wave, which means that the salt at the top joins up with the coarser salt at the bottom. So it moves that with wheelbarrows over the central collection area, and it'll dry out there for the rest of the season. The salt is fleur de sel, and fleur de sel is the purest form of salt that they do. They are just as pure as they get.
That's what it looks like.
Not that it looks all that appetising, does it? But give it a whirl. Give it a whirl. Available in packets at the shop. And off back to the port. As you remember, the Olon is divided into three parts. There's the Sables d'Olonne and the Olon-sur-Mer. That was a bit of Sables d'Olonne. And here's doing something which we did pretty frequently, really, and that was eating and drinking. Eating and drinking in this case right at the Sables d'Olonne. And very nice it was. Lots of fresh fish. Yes, Nier-sur-Loutise. That was our second day's trip. It was our culture day. And a fascinating place it was. Both the buildings itself, the ecclesiastical buildings, the church, and together with its gardens and shop, and its museum inside, which has been both tastefully and really quite impressively decorated and renovated. There's the Romanesque entry, and it was our fairly brief introduction before we were able to go out into the cloisters. It is one of the major attractions of the area, and we were very lucky to be able to get there on the day that we did. I talked of it being a sort of modern decoration. Well, once you get inside and to the museum part, a lot of it is very much modern. An exhibition of instruments, an exhibition of a whole variety of things which are associated with the area. Walking through these medieval cloisters into the inside, which is anything but medieval. because the inside of the building has been imaginatively decorated with exhibits largely of musical instruments in a context which is very much a modern one, which nonetheless does seem to harmonise pretty well with the Romanesque exterior. And here we are, back to drinking again. That evening then we were taken out and to a local wine merchant, a Bleu Blanc Rouge, who welcomed the group of us, together with our French hosts and hostesses, to his wine shop in Olonne-sur-Mer. And it was a very generous evening because there were, I think, 8 wines on offer. And it wasn't just the bottom of the glass that he was offering. Quite honestly, you could go back to have as much as you wanted, as frequently as you liked. And the wines were an interesting variety. 1 or 2 local wines from the Vendée, but the majority from the Loire and from Burgundy. But all, needless to say, all French. And not only that, once we'd finished in his wine shop, we then repaired to Espace Olonne, where it all went on. Because here our wine merchant arrived, again, a virtually unlimited amount of wine, not to mention a few goodies to local specialities. Well, proof of the dangers of an excess of alcohol. That was the end of our evening at the double wine tasting. Here we go, the following day, to one of 2 ceremonies that we were going to for planting a commemorative tree. There is the mayor of Sables d'Olonne, who had hoped to come and join us in Worthing last year, but then proved unable to do so. And here is our visit to the central streets of Olonne, and we were going to be given breakfast before the tree planting at the Halles, the central covered market. All looks pretty empty. In fact, it was open, but we just happened to be the only ones there, I think. Very impressive building, and they were offering us a breakfast, fairly skimpy breakfast, it must be said, but they were offering us a breakfast and then a chance to wander around the market and chat to people and admire the ironworks and the general architecture. Our thanks to the leader of the market for his hospitality, and then a little glance outside to the church, which is literally just outside, just across the road from Les Halles. Again, an impressive building, and we enjoyed our fairly brief stay there before we embarked upon our brief trip up to the tree planting. Here are the Arbre des Souvenirs, and as you can see then, it is the mayors, both the local mayor and Vic Walker, representing Worthing, were together to do their job, digging a bit of earth. It posed a few problems because they worked out that the tree was going to be a little bit too big for where they had in mind, so there was a last-minute change of venue. The tree wasn't planted quite where it was intended. But here is the 4e adjoint du maire.
I'm trying to say some words in English. I learned English a long time ago. But I try to remember some words. So, Catherine told me, some people speak only English. So I speak English for you. Right. It will be very easy to understand, I think so, with my French accent.
Don't worry.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh.
It's the mayor. No, it's a girlfriend.
You better answer.
Well, I'm very proud to receive English people from Worthing in Château d'Olonne. and I'm very happy to put in earth to remember you, to remember the sacrifice of English people, this liberty tree. You know, it's a tulipier of Virginia, and Virginia, it's a country of a state of America who they fight for liberty a long time ago, but it was another story, you know, it's another story. But for us, Lafayette, nous voilà, they say. And we must to put this tree in the earth to remember Worthing, to remember England, to remember France, and our relationship between Pays des Olonnes and Worthing. So I said, vive l'Angleterre, vive la France.
It's a fantastic thing, I think, to plant a tree. It's a living symbol. It will grow. And what I hope and pray is that the twin towns of Worthing and France will grow in relationship. And that means every one of us, Philip, every one of us, working together to create that atmosphere in an environment where we can say we are brothers and sisters together, albeit we are from different nations.
Anna is the president of the Twinning for Young People.
I hope this tree will grow and grow, and then I hope I'll see it quite often. It reminds me of all of you and that special day. So, yeah, thank you.
And on to the next day. Those who were there will recognise this. I think this was our arrival in La Rochelle. Some of the same route as we'd taken to Nieuilly-sur-Authiers, but just a bit further down the road. Here we are then, not looking quite at its most decorative, obviously low tide, but this is the entrance to the small port of La Rochelle. As you can see, the weather wasn't bad, and certainly a distinct improvement on the much of the previous day. We had a chance to wander a little bit around the streets of La Rochelle, and then how predictable this was, the vast majority of the residents of Worthing made their way to a restaurant and a bar. So here we are, eating and drinking yet again, keeping up our reputation. And there's the restaurant where we, by chance really, most of us seem to have ended up. Quite a nice meal it was. Streets for La Rochelle, very pretty, looking pretty empty on this particular rather chilly afternoon. But even so, the town was looking really very nice. As you remember, it's a Protestant town.
And very sad that you are going away tomorrow. It was sad to leave you, but now we say that the friendship is growing more and more, that we have every year a lot of friends, many friends.
And you know, it just feels to me like home from home. So thank you so much, and God bless you all.
And there we are, departure time. They all come to say farewell, dressed in a variety of fashions, as you can see. Lots of Union Jacks, not many French flags on our side. There's the Hotel Ibis, where most of us were staying. And our Woods coach, not, I should say, driven by this gentleman. Our driver was Jason, whom you've seen on the odd occasion.
Wasn't it nice of them to come away with us?
It is, they got up in the morning.
And the farewell, we were heading back to Caen, which is a fair trek.
And so concludes our 5-day visit to France, an exceptional visit where we were made to feel most welcome, and we look forward to a return visit in the near future. Au revoir.
Il embrassait sa grand-mère en descendant.